Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time, and in this video I'm going to answer the question, are states actually struggling and starting to cut back on expenses and how this impacts residents? Now we talk about the unemployment booster, we talk about the $300 a week, but all this is on top of the state unemployment insurance. So the state has many expenses: education, healthcare, maintenance of local services, and all the other services that we essentially take for granted. On top of that, the state is now expected to pay out unemployment benefits and coordinate with the federal government to get the extra money and pay it out. So the fact is, states now are underfunded and states have to cut corners somewhere. In fact, there's a very real possibility that some states may actually run out of money. Now, there are provisions for when states run out of money, they can borrow money from the federal government. But for now, let's focus on what's exactly going on with states. And on your screen, you'll see an article from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities. And the article had the headline reads, States Grappling with a Hit to Tax Collections. In fact, CBPP estimates that state budget shortfalls will ultimately reach almost 10% of the 2020 fiscal year and over 20% in 2021. That's what states are running into. In fact, states face an immediate fiscal crisis in 2020, and we'll know the full extent as and when the actual numbers come out. But basically, what's happening is Kansas has estimated an $816 million drop in revenues. Arizona expects revenues to drop by $864 million. Arkansas expects a $353 million revenue drop, and many states are seeing significant cuts in revenue. In fact, damaging cuts have already begun. In Georgia, policymakers approved a 10% cut for 2021. And if you want to get an idea of the state revenue shortfalls, take a look at this chart on your screen. And as we scroll, you will see how the pandemic has caused revenues to decline across the country, a significant decline in revenues for all states throughout the country, with some states actually being impacted significantly more than others. Speaking of states that are significantly impacted, here's an article on your screen from the Washington Post, and this article reads, New York City battled back the pandemic. Now it's struggling to pay for it. New York City is running a severe shortfall, and as of Monday of this week, about 22,000 municipal workers could receive pink slips informing them that they will be laid off in October unless New York City can identify other ways to help close its approximately $8 billion revenue gap. And if you look looking at this article a little more closely, without a $12 billion cash infusion, MTA leaders sounded their own dire alarm. They may have to scale back some services as much as 40%, leaving riders facing longer wait times and postponing sorely needed repairs to the subway infrastructure. Now, here's another article on your screen, and this one is from New York Times. It says state and local budget pain looms over economy's future. And it says providing more aid to states and local governments has become one of the biggest issues tangling up the debate over another pandemic rescue package. As you know, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi wants aid for state and local governments to the tune of right around $900 billion. And it seems like that's a huge area of contention between the Democrats and the administration. It's one of the many things that have stalled the current stimulus negotiations. Also on your screen, you'll see an article from the Tax Policy Center, and the very first question that says, what are state balanced budget requirements and how do they work? So basically every state, I should say most states, have to balance their budgets, which basically means cash in is equal to cash out. And so states simply can't balance their budgets because they're seeing a significant decline in their revenue. Think about it. If you get less money coming in, and this is how we run, how families run, how businesses run, states run in a similar way. If you have less money coming in, you've got to have less money going out in order to balance your budget. So that's another crisis that's facing states right now. In fact, if you take a look at this article on your screen, this is an article that was on the Gainesville Daily Register. And this article says that lawmakers complain state park fees hurt poor residents in Oklahoma. So what's happening is we're starting to see the problems with the system, if you will, if states don't have enough funding. In fact, let's take a look at this article from Jersey. And this article says Jersey budget proposal calls for eliminating racing subsidy. Now, obviously, every single state has its own areas of, they spend money in different ways. There's definitely waste in any system. There's waste in any business. There's waste in our personal household. So states now need to find ways to eliminate the waste because states simply can't collect less money and continue to spend the same amount of money. Something has to give, which is why states are now going to start making adjustments. States are going to have to start cutting back on certain expenses in order to be able to make budget, in order to be able to balance their budget. I want you to tell me in the comment section below, have you seen some impact from the kind of services or from what you expect from your state in your particular state? Have you seen delays in getting a response from, let's say, if you call any state agency, which I'm sure we have because we're talking about unemployment benefits on our channel, but have you seen any other things? Have you seen local parks that are not being maintained anymore? Are you seeing that there's a reduction in response? There's an increase in response time when you try and talk to law enforcement? Have you seen any impact in your actual state? Let's try and understand what's going on, because I do believe that in the comment section we learn a lot more about the real status of the country, and I do believe the collective insight of our incredible community, of our amazing, rapidly growing community, is much greater than what I can individually tell you, because I do want us to interact and learn from each other. The fact is, states are facing a budget shortfall. In fact, once again, let's show you the chart on your screen from the CBPP website, which actually shows you all the states that are running budget shortfalls. Now, if you're in any one of these states, specifically the states that have a higher budget shortfall, specifically the states that are going to see a significant decline in revenue, I'm talking states like New York, states like California, you are likely to see some sort of a cut in the way your state spends money, which in turn is going to directly impact you and the services that you have come to expect from the state. Remember, states spend money on education, primarily K through 12. They spend money on local healthcare services. They spend money on the services we've come to expect, like firefighters, law enforcement, and many, many other things. So again, we are going to see some sort of a compromise in those services because states are simply not making budget unless the state gets aid from the federal government, because states can actually borrow money from the federal government. A lot of states actually have borrowed money from the federal government in order to be able to stay afloat and pay their bills, which, by the way, explains why states are not able to pay the $100 a week booster on top of the $300 a week that is allocated through the DRF fund, through the Lost Wages Assistance Program, through the executive order that was set up by the president. That also explains why states are simply struggling to even distribute the $300 a week program, because states are overloaded and underfunded, and now they have to set up a new program with new architecture. They have to make sure that they comply with all the rules and regulations in order to be able to distribute this money in an efficient manner, and they make sure that they do it within the letter of the law, because each state has its own requirements, each state has its own formula for these calculations. So imagine if a state is expected to do more work, and on top of that, the state is underfunded, because the revenues coming into the state from the state tax revenues. Remember, when you go out to eat at a restaurant, when you use public transport, that's when the state makes money in addition to your state income taxes. But now, if you're not going to go out and eat at restaurants, if you're not going to go out, if you're not going to be doing things that bring the state money, if you're not going to be using public transport, and if essentially there's a reduction and a slowdown in the economy, the state now struggles to get money, which means the state has to make cuts elsewhere. Let me know what you think. I would like to know if you've seen a compromise in your state services. Please type out in the description section below. Let us know so we can help each other as a community. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. Thank you so much for watching. I have the privilege, the honor, the fortune of living the American dream, and I want to help you reach your American dream. We release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. If you want to get alerts from us, please get your cell phone out. Send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000. That's 70000, so that you can get on our SMS list, you can get on our email list, and you can opt out at any time. We work hard behind the scenes to create these videos for you. As always, we'll provide you with links to all the articles that were mentioned in this video in the description section below, so you can dig deeper and learn more about this on your own. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. I really appreciate you watching. Please click like, please click subscribe, please enable notifications. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next video. Our community is growing very, very rapidly, for which I'm eternally grateful. And we work hard to bring you this content. So again, please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. We'll see you in the next video of Ignition Time. Thank you. Bye-bye.